Welcome to this week's weekly weather briefing. It is August the 17th, 2017, and good evening. Right now, we are looking at a cold front that is knocking on our doorstep. That is why many of us today dealt with some scattered showers and thunderstorms. And even as of 5:30, 6 o'clock in the evening, you can still tell that these are running pretty smooth across the entire Purchase and Pennyrile area, just scattered about. We have not seemed to get rid of them in Callaway County or southeastern Graves County. Every now and then, one or two will pop up in Marshall or northeast Graves, but they're mainly confined to the eastern Purchase area. And then the Pennyrile area, there has been a boundary that is set up where they have just continued to ride along the same area. We call that training. Thankfully, these are not in a congealed line and these are still scattered. So we are getting some breaks between each cell that moves through those areas. But besides that, we look like that is going to activity that is associated over here is going to start to calm down over the next couple of hours. My forecast that I posted on Twitter a couple hours ago said that we would end up seeing no rain after sunset, so we'll wait and see if that stands true. Temperatures right now are settling into the low 80s after another warm day, but we did have more clouds than we did yesterday. That's why temperatures didn't get near as warm as we had yesterday. And besides the fact that we did get warmth, we still did see below average temperatures this last week. And because we were so below average, we ended up getting warm about 90 degrees yesterday. And that was really hot to most of us because that is actually average. That is where we should be at for an afternoon average high for August. And it just feels too hot because we haven't been seeing the average temperatures that we should be because it's been so cool lately. And it looks like we're going to see some more warm weather coming. But I am noticing a big change after we get through our total solar eclipse forecast and what this week has to offer. Let's go ahead and look at what this week has to offer. Like we're already talking about it. So we're going to go ahead and look at that cold front going through our region right now. Once we get into Saturday morning, we're going to see a complex of storms more than likely form off to our north and west. It could spit some clouds into our area for the day on Saturday. We'll have to watch that very closely, and we can't roll out a shower, but it will be weakening as it moves southeast towards our neck of the woods. It's Sunday that we are watching in particular close attention because Sunday is going to be a day where we do have a warm front approaching our region, which means that we could see a little bit more lift in the atmosphere, which means probably a little bit more cloud cover and a little bit more warmer temperatures than we will see on Friday and Saturday. So Sunday looks to be warmer, a little bit more cloudy, and maybe even could prone the chance of a shower or storm. And with that warm front being in our vicinity on Sunday, that means that Monday could be an introduced day of some shower and thunderstorm chances that we're watching very closely. Right now, the GFS has began to back off of rain chances on Monday. That is a very important day because many of you that are watching this know that that is the total solar eclipse or partial eclipse day, depending on where you live in western Kentucky. But besides that fact, we're looking at a little bit more cloud cover than we would hope for if the forecast that I'm thinking right now pans out. So we'll watch that very closely and see how all of that pans out and goes. But as of right now, I will show you the total solar eclipse forecast at the end of the video so that way you have an idea on what I'm thinking. Right now, it looks like by the time we get to midweek next week, we will see a cold front move through. As a cold high pressure digs into the northeast and the Great Lakes area of the United States, it's going to spill some cold air from the northeast to our region, and that is going to mean some chillier temperatures than what we are experiencing right now and more below average temperatures than what we have already seen for the month of August. Once we get into next weekend, we will start to toss our hands up because we really don't know what next weekend holds. After all, we are over a week out. The reason I am recording today is because I do have a lot of plans this weekend that I would not be able to get to my computer to record. So, in order for me to go ahead and give you a total solar eclipse forecast in person in video, I would like to go ahead and do that now while I have the chance. So right now we're going to look at basically the 500 millibar anomaly just as much as it says up here. And this is showing you where we see the ridging and the troughing. The ridging is equaling warmer than average temperatures most of the time, and the troughing is usually equaling cooler than average temperatures. This is thousands of feet off the atmosphere, off the surface rather, into the atmosphere, and this is showing us what's going on several thousand feet up, and usually we want to look there to figure out what's going to happen here where we live on Earth. So that's what we look at, and here we go. We're going to go ahead and move very slowly because it is still loading over here where I would like to show you. So we'll look at this little trough that tries to move in for the weekend, but the problem is we're not going to be seeing a lot of the way of cooler temperatures. It's still going to be pretty warm for the weekend, like I've already mentioned. Sunday, with that warm front nearby, is going to make temperatures feel even warmer than what these maps are showing. And by the time we get into the afternoon hours on Sunday, we do begin to see a little bit of that ridge come back into our region, and that is going to spill some warmer temperatures our way for Eclipse Day and Tuesday of next week. But it's once we get into Wednesday that we watch this cold high pressure system dig into the northeast. But since it will be centered to our northeast, I do not believe that we're going to be seeing too much in the way of cooler temperatures. Not as cool as we saw towards the beginning of the month, but low to mid 80s and lower humidity are all not out of the question and are good bets. But because of it not being centered in our region or the central United States like those troughs or those cool masses were in the beginning of August, this one's going to be more centered off to our northeast. So we'll be looking at a little bit in the way of cooler weather, but it's not going to be a huge relief. The good thing about it is that it looks like it's going to try and set in for at least the second half of next week and into next weekend. If that is the case, we could be looking at a prolonged period of more comfortable weather than what we are seeing right now. If the GFS is correct, going late into the month, the ridge would try to build back, but it looks like once we start to open up into September, the first day of meteorological fall is September the 1st, it does look like we will begin to see more in the way of cooler weather. So this trend of cooler than average weather looks to continue into the month of September, but we'll save that for another day, for another video to talk about what September would have to offer. I do want to show you what that warm front looks like on the weather map. This is what the weather map is going to look like at 6 a.m. tomorrow on Friday morning. That cold front moving through our region very slowly but surely, and within in front of it, it will be bringing shower and thunderstorm chances. So with it being to our east and south, it looks like Saturday, most of the day is going to shape up dry. But here's that complex of storms. I'll back up one and show you that I said would form on Saturday to our north and west. It will begin to move southeast along that stationary / warm front. It will turn into a warm front right there as a low pressure system begins to move up and along it, which means it will have that trailing cold front behind it. That cold front isn't going to do us much relief because it looks like it might try and stall out, which is what I'm worried about. If this front does end up trying to stall out during the day Sunday and into Monday, then shower and thunderstorm chances would increase ever so slightly. So we will have to monitor that very closely. Here's the European, rather the GFS ensemble. I'll show you the European in the next slide of what the temperatures over the next 15 days look like, at least over the next week. Here's that warm-up that I'm talking about over the eclipse time period and into the weekend. It's once we get into the second half of next week, from Wednesday into Thursday onward, when we begin to see those cooler than average temperatures. Like I said, like I've mentioned in previous videos, our average high right now for an August afternoon is 90 degrees or around it. So we're not looking at 90-degree heat once we get into the second half of next week. But it's the first half of next week that we're watching for 90-degree heat, but not anything higher than that. So average is all we're looking at, and then below average by the time we get into the second half of next week. And look at that prolonged period. The European agrees with it also. Almost identical looking maps, two different models showing us what the temperature pattern is going to look like over the next 15 days. So if we can get past this little bump that we're going to see in the road over the next 6 days, we'll at least be able to look forward to some cooler than average temperatures once we get later down the road. Here's the 7-day forecast showing that mainly a lot of this rain that you're seeing right here will come mainly into the second half of next week when we begin to see more in the way of precipitation along that cold front that will come through next Wednesday, and that will be the cold front that drops our temperatures from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll be seeing a big difference between those 3 days in temperatures due to that cold front. I did want to show you really quickly just what my forecast was for the total solar eclipse. Here it is right here, and you can tell once I open it up. Right now, it looks like the temperature is going to be in the mid to upper 80s. The sky condition as of right now, I'm going with partly cloudy, but I was a little tempted to put mostly cloudy, but I did lean partly cloudy. We'll see how it goes. This is still Thursday. We're still several days away from this event. The cloud cover percentage right now, I did put 60. That is a fairly high number. I will be monitoring that over the next couple of days. I would rather start off with a high number and work my way down than to start off with 10% and then eventually have like 60% cloud cover and then disappoint some people who just saw the first forecast. So I do want to start off with this. People won't be disappointed if they see a 60% chance of cloud cover and then it ends up being a full sunny day on Monday. So I would rather start off high and then work my way down. The wind speed for the eclipse looks to be really just average summertime wind speed, 5 to 12 miles an hour. Not going to notice it much at all. The humidity will be high. It will be right in the peak of that little heat wave or mini heat spell that we're looking at that's going to be coming in for the weekend and on to the beginning of the first half of next week. so the humidity will be fairly high. The rain chance right now, I did hold it at 30%, but we're going to have to watch that very closely. Really, the cloud cover percentage and the rain chance is what we're watching the most, because it's all about seeing the sun. So if we can get the rain chances down and we can get the cloud cover percentage down, then it looks like we have a good opening door for a good eclipse. It looks like right here I have the eclipse details. Most of y'all already know about that. But the thing is, guys, we're looking at a frontal system around the time frame of Monday, around this area of the country. So we'll just have to watch it very closely and see where it goes and how quickly it moves or meanders in one or two directions. If we don't have that stationary front, and if it completely gets wiped off the maps in the next couple of model runs over the next few days, then I will drop my cloud cover percentage and rain chances. But as long as that frontal boundary is being shown on the models, I will keep my cloud cover percentage up there and rain chances a little bit on the low to medium side, because I am going to be a little bit skeptical on some raindrops if we end up having that stationary boundary in our region. But let's put all of the odds aside, and just right now let's focus on the next week, where we look at a warm first half of the week and weekend, and a good cool second half of next week. And after all, let's focus on the big total solar eclipse of 2017 that I hope all of you get to enjoy.